So today
Thank
I
you so
have,
much.
you're welcome, sir. Today I have quite a number of questions prepared, but before we go deeply into the questions, I would like us to just go briefly into the economic state of Nigeria. In one word, what can we describe the economic state of Nigeria presently, sir?
Well, if you actually mean one word, then I'll say evolving.
Evolving.
Yes. But you probably don't mean one word. So if give me
I'll
the go ahead that
I'll
he
give it
didn't
the
mean
go.
one.
I'll give it the go
Yeah.
ahead. I really needed the one word. I really needed the one word, and of course, I'll also need the explanations for the two.
It's evolving. The Nigerian economic situation is evolving. And I'm happy that you, our moderator tonight, say you are happy, uh, you know, uh, about the economy. And I'm happy that you're happy. And I hope that the conversation that we are going to have this evening makes you happier. The economic situation, is a journey. It's never a destination. So you
Hmm.
can, roll back to the date that our president took office last year, May 29,
Yes, sir.
and look at the situation. Look at that as a bus stop and look at the situation, at that bus stop or at that train station. Before we departed, that train station, continuing the journey, and you look at where we are now as another train station, and you ask yourself what things have changed. Yeah, the government, in an effort to solve problems that they met when they got to office, had felt compelled to take certain steps, and notably, the liberalization of the exchange rate, prior to June last year,
Yes, sir.
the government kept the exchange rate officially pegged, but they were constantly chased by the shadow, their own shadow, that the private market rate would be almost twice, as cheap as the official exchange rate. So government had never really been able to keep the exchange rate fixed because a private market rate will emerge. So unifying the rates and letting the market determine the rate was an inevitable decision. We cannot continue to deceive ourselves. Fixing it is journey in self-deceit. So we are in a regime in which what we look at the mirror, whether you are looking at the official exchange rate or you are looking at the private market exchange, is true portrayal of what you are.
Hmm.
So it should release your energy to try and improve what you see the next time you show up before the mirror. And that's
Hmm.
the part that the government needs to do more about. They should encourage to maintain that market determined exchange rate. And we should also encourage ourselves to ask questions about what government needs to do to have a stable exchange rate in a free market environment. Countries around us, that's what the likes. Any country where you find their exchange rate to be stable and they don't have a parallel market that haunts them means that they are able to meet reasonable demand, all demand for forex at the exchange rate that they maintain. So there's no parallel market. There are no multiple rates. All transactions get settled at the same rate. So is that search for how to keep the exchange rate stable in the market situation that Nigeria must embark on? And I don't want to keep you in suspense. It's an open secret. It's something that is obvious to everybody. Everybody tells the government every day that our reserves level are low. We
Yes.
used to have more than $40 billion in foreign reserves, even before we quoted the exchange rate. And it was hardly enough. Now you have 30 billion, plus or minus 5 or plus or minus 7, and you are maintaining a free market exchange rate. So the reason why the exchange rate is on a free fall is as obvious as reserve inadequacy. So the key question is, what should the government do
Mm.
to achieve reserve adequacy?
Adequacy.
Nigerian problem under President Tinubu is one, and that one problem is reserve inadequacy. Weak exchange rate is a consequence of that. Is a
That.
symptom of inadequate reserve. So, and okay, pump price of petroleum products, pump price rising again and again is a consequence of weak exchange rate.
Hmm.
Or electricity tariff, going up, is a consequence of weak exchange rate.
Weak exchange rate.
Labor, the struggle about labor wage negotiation and the rest of it, the hunger protests, consequence of weak exchange rate. So fix the reserves so you can fix the exchange rates, and all the other variables will fall in place. Is a challenge that President Tinubu and his team need to rise up to. You can't abdicate that responsibility. As a country, we encourage banks. We tell banks all the time, increase your capital base. Increase your capital base. That's their own reserves. So you before you begin to point out the speck in the eyes of banks, let us remove the log in our own eyes as a country. We are not letting banks give excuse why they can't increase their equity. We give them a deadline. Either increase it or merge, or you lose your license. Let's give ourselves that kind of, because if you don't have adequate reserve, Naira will not be stable, inflation will never come down, interest rate will never come down, hardships will continue, and you begin to say to people, give you cash, so that you can buy fuel. We give you cash, to meet standard. Don't give anybody cash. Stabilize exchange rate. Let the Naira go back to 600, 500.
Exactly.
And you need to give anybody any cash so that everybody will have enough, to meet their daily needs. Well, I don't want to take the whole time giving you lectures, but this is a very fundamental gap in the Nigerian macro situation right now: inadequate reserves.
Thank you very much for that. That's opened, I believe that has opened the eyes of many of our listeners currently concerning the reserves. That's so insightful. I believe I once had the thoughts concerning that, and I was discussing it sometimes back with a fellow of mine, and we were discussing about the fact that Nigeria was actually borrowing money to actually maintain the economy at a point. But then we brought up the discussion concerning the reserve too. And it's such an honor. It's really, really so insightful and really, really good to hear that from you this evening. I really appreciate that.